What's up, guys? My name is Omarr, and this is Mental Health for Us. Now, my goal is to battle cultural stigmas that surround mental health and increase awareness for all of us. Now, today's topic is going to be on shame. Now, shame is a very powerful influencer on our overall mental health, and it can have an enormous impact on our overall behavior. Now, Webster's dictionary defines shame as a painful emotion caused by a consciousness of guilt, shortcoming, or impropriety. Now, to me, this definition, it's pretty accurate. There are plenty of appropriate places for shame to enter our consciousness, because like I said earlier, it can be a very powerful motivator. But what I will be discussing today are those times when feelings of shame aren't necessarily warranted. Now, we've all heard the saying, keeping up with the Joneses. Now, the term refers to maintaining a certain socioeconomic status based on the perceptions of others' socioeconomic status. Now, I mention this because many times shame can derive from not meeting social and cultural norms that are placed on us. As a child, it may manifest as not having the accepted brand of clothing or sneakers. As an adult, it may manifest from not being married by a certain age. These expectations can come from our family, our cultural environments, and other social constructs that we're all products of. Maybe your culture demands that you marry a person of a particular caliber, or expects you to enter a particular career field. Or maybe you don't meet expectations of what your body should look like, or the amount of money you should be making. These societal expectations can often contrast who we inherently are. And that's not to say that all social constructs are bad. Many are beneficial and they help us become better people. But sometimes those constructs stem from a place of fear, ignorance, and really an effort to maintain the status quo. To me, that's when it becomes problematic. For example, my parents were born in Sierra Leone. For those who don't know, it's a small country in West Africa. I'm incredibly proud of my heritage, but as a child, that wasn't always the case. Imagine that, my proud African ass ashamed of my own culture. But growing up, I would hear so many negative things about Africa, Africans, being African. And when I look back, I realize all those images and negative attitudes came from ignorant peers and irresponsible media outlets. But at the time, it seemed like African hatred was the consensus attitude. And that ultimately made me ashamed of my very own culture, which is ridiculous when you think about it. But the shame caused me to do things like turn down African music when I was on the phone with the girl so she wouldn't hear it. Or I would try to get the smell of our food out of the house by opening the windows when I knew I had friends coming over, which is also ridiculous because African food is freaking amazing. But all those actions were driven by a false sense of shame. The environment that I was around led me to believe that who I was as an African wasn't enough, that there was something wrong with my truth and thus me as a person. That's exactly what shame can do. It can prevent you from living your truth and suppress your self-esteem when you make any attempt to live in that truth. Now, shame can also keep you from seeking help when you need it the most. How many times have you needed help, advice, or guidance about something, but because of the circumstances that surrounded that situation, you were afraid to ask? So what do people do to avoid the shame? We conform or we conceal. We conform to what is acceptable by our culture or societal standards, and we conceal those times when we don't meet those standards or expectations. This is not to say that we're all sheep and we all walk around trying to be accepted for everything we do or don't do. That's obviously not the case. But I'm speaking specifically to the things in your life that you might be ashamed of, that you really shouldn't be. Because ultimately, you're allowing your self-esteem to be dictated by what other people think. One of the beautiful things about being a human is that our brains make us incredibly unique. There is no one else on this planet who is exactly like you, and you should embrace that. Walking in your truth and freeing yourself from false shame takes courage. But doing so can improve your self-esteem and ultimately improve your happiness. So be yourself. This doesn't mean fart on the train, okay? Use your discretion, especially when your actions can have a tangible impact on someone else. But don't drive the car because someone else likes it. Drive the car because you love it. Don't let shame dictate your happiness, your self-esteem, or who you are as a person. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. I'm off to go eat some jollof rice. If you don't know anything about it, Google it, introduce it into your life, and thank me later. If you like the video, please share it, please like it, and I'm out of here. Until next time.